Hey, so my name is India, and I started sewing at the end of May when I turned 30, and it's now November 9th, and I feel like I've been just doing really well. It's come natural to me, to be honest. So I've challenged myself to make all of my Christmas gifts this year. Now, here's the thing. I have a huge family, and it's November 9th. So and I got a full-time job. Plus, like after I was gonna say after school activities, but after work activities. So time is of the essence, the countdown is on, and this is gonna be a little difficult, but we're gonna make it happen. So today we're starting the Christmas countdown, making a purse. I'm honestly not sure who I'm gonna gift this to yet, but I know there's several people who would enjoy it. So I don't have a real vision. I just know I want to make a faux leather purse out of these pants that are thrifted. So let's get into it. Let's see what we come up with.
So I decided to head over to my Pinterest board for a little bit of inspiration, and I stumbled upon this video of a very simple knot top purse tutorial. And I figured we love this. It's to the point, doesn't get too complicated. I'm low on time, so we're gonna try this right here. So to start the whole process, I just needed to lay out the pants and see how much fabric I was working with and just really cut out rectangles. So I unzipped everything, unbuttoned everything, and then cut along the seam of the legs. Once I got the pants all deconstructed, I then just separated the leg portion from the hip area of the pants so I could have just one flat rectangle. And as you can see, I'm not too concerned about straight lines, making sure it's like all to the T, because for me, I can do all that when I actually sew. But I know the professionals are gonna come for me. But this is just what works for me because I am not a straight line girly. I can't cut in a straight line for the life of me. Maybe if I did more formal training in the future, I'll do better. But for now, this is where we're at, and we're loving it, and we're not giving up just because of it. So instead of pinning my garments, I find it easier as a beginner and faster to use clips. And so I'm going to clip these two rectangles together so that I can make one long rectangle from it. Now it's time to start sewing. I changed my presser foot specifically for this project to a roller presser foot. It's supposed to make sewing on this thicker material easier. This is my first time sewing with material like this, so far so good. I think this is a really good tool to have if you're going to be making bags or sewing with any type of leather, faux leather, anything like that. Definitely get you a roller presser foot. I got mine off Amazon for like $4.99. And then I also got some leather needles so that my machine or my needles don't break and that everything is able to withstand the thickness of this material. So after I've sewn these two pieces together, I'm going to trim down the seam allowance so it's not bulky, and then do a zigzag stitch so there aren't any frayed ends. So now you should have one long rectangle, and what we're going to do is create our knot. So you'll do this by taking your hands at the center top of your rectangle and start slowly squishing the fabric down to the bottom. And when you have that all gathered, you have the perfect position to tie a knot. And make sure you're in the center so that both sides of your bag are even. And you're just going to tie her up. Now you can adjust the knot at the top so that it's not too clunky, and that it looks nice and neat. Now place your fabric with the right sides facing one another, and we're going to get to sewing. So first things first, you're going to sew up the side of your fabric on both sides, but don't sew all the way up because you will need an opening for you to either put your arm through or your wrist through or whatever, depending on what style of bag you're going for. I didn't realize in the process of this that because of the size of my fabric, this was not going to be a shoulder bag. Maybe it will be for someone with thinner arms, but for me, it's more like a handbag. If you want it longer, you definitely need a longer rectangle for your initial fabric piece. So yeah, I sewed up the sides, and now you can see the bag is starting to take its shape. I just now need to sew the bottom. Now we're going to add some shape and structure to our bag. So what you need to do is basically draw a line on each corner of the bottom of the bag to create what looks like a triangle in the corner. You can measure it up to an exact point. I do know some patterns say like go up 3 inches on both sides and then create a line to connect your 2 points. I just kind of chose what felt right. So do you, boo? Figure it out. It should work out regardless. Just don't go up too far, you know? So stick to 2 to 3 inches if you're trying to be more accurate. But when your lines are drawn, you're then going to go to the sewing machine and sew along that line. So now we're at the finish line, and what you're going to do is trim your seam allowance just to avoid bulk and make everything nice and smooth. Since I upcycled this material, I didn't really feel the need to finish my seam with a zigzag stitch to avoid fraying. It looks nice and clean and as is. But if you're using like fabric that you got from the store, like cotton fabric, denim fabric, something like that, and or if you didn't cut appropriately to avoid unfinished seams, then I definitely would finish these seams with a zigzag stitch. You could also do that at the initial step when you're making your long rectangle. But to finalize this, you will just poke out your edges so that seam is nice and crisp and your bag has great structure. And then we're done. We have a nice cutesy bag.
So it's about 2 hours later, and I am done. This is honestly probably the quickest, most satisfying sewing project I've done since I started sewing. So 10 out of 10. She's super cute, and I will be making more. Um, the only thing about this bag that someone may not like is that there's no zipper or anything, so it's just open. But you'll just hold her like so, like that. Put her around your wrist. It does not really fit on the shoulder, but you can do a little holder like this. It's for the days when you're feeling like a little classy, a little more dressy, you know? Not necessarily a casual bag, but definitely a great handmade gift in my opinion. So gift one on the Christmas list is done. See you next time.